You are in for a treat with the next conversation I'm going to share with you with Tyler Watts from Broad River Campground in North Carolina. Tyler is an inspirational and motivational business owner who has moved from property development into glamping development. And he shares in this episode a huge number of tips, tricks, lessons learned, what's worked, what didn't, what he had to do to go back and revisit other things and develop other ideas and test and experiment, all with the intention of making his glamping business work. Now, his campsite, which also includes RVs, camping, and all kinds of other things like cabins and everything else in between, is an award-winning site with staff who are eager to work with him. This is episode 15. Welcome to the Glamping Americas podcast, the place for inspiration about the business of upscale camping, glamping, and luxury outdoor guest accommodations. I'm Sarah Riley from the Glamping Academy, and I'm working with my friends at the Glamping Show Americas to share everything you need to know about new trends, events, business models, and investment potential in the rapidly growing world of luxury camping that delivers an experience. Interest in this industry is exploding, so if you want to be the first to find out what's hot and what's not, subscribe here and check out the show notes for more exciting news and links. And be sure to add the next Glamping Show Americas to your calendar for the 1st and 2nd of October 2024 near Denver, Colorado. I can't wait. So Tyler, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really pleased to have you here. You have been a friend to the Glamping Show for a while, and there's so many questions I have for you. But my number one question is, what makes a property developer turn to glamping? Tell me a little bit about that and what inspired your move into the glamping arena.
So we are originally apartment guys and have done that for many, many years. And I came on board in 2017. And when 2020 hit, apartment industry just skyrocketed on pricing. Our underwriting did not work. We were looking for a new project, which is my primary position at the company I'm with. And I stumbled across RV parks, and I thought it was just the most amazing thing that you could build an RV site and rent it out. And you didn't have windows to worry about breaking. You didn't have to worry about toilets backing up. You didn't have to worry about bugs. You didn't have to worry about any of that stuff. So sat down and talked with my group and kind of pitched the idea of what about building an RV park? We've never done it. We never had discussed it. So we spent about a year researching the market, kind of understanding what all happens in an RV park, what is an RV park, what is not an RV park, and what model do we want to go after. And during that research time, we kind of came across all these different things: RV sites, cabins, glamping domes, everything you could think of. And fast forward through a year's research, we settled down on wanting to do a combination of everything. And our model for our park was, we seen a need out there that we didn't see a park that offered every style of camping: RV sites, cabins, glamping domes, tent sites. So we said, why not us? And so when we decided that that was our model, then we started diving into what style of RV sites, what style of cabins, and what style of glamping domes.
It's really interesting, actually, because it's one of the things we talk about a lot in Europe and other parts of the world, which is about if you have lots of different offers, so a glamping dome, a cabin, maybe some places to pitch a tent, what you're doing is you're really attracting lots of different people who have different desires for their holiday. So, how they want to spend their time. But while they're there, they look around themselves and they say, wow, that cabin looks great. I might just stay there next time. Or that dome looks amazing. It's got a hot tub. I'm going to stay there next time. So you've got this amazing way of increasing your lifetime customer value and increasing those repeat bookings, which is what we really need. But I can see from behind you, for obviously, if anyone's listening on the podcast, they can't see this, but I can see this. And you've got a fantastic hot tub behind you and you're sitting in your dome. Tell me a little bit about your dome.
Okay, so when we started researching the market, we wanted to understand what glamping was. And when you before this was before I ever went to the AGA conference, I just started Googling stuff and came across these things. And they first looked like igloos, is what I started calling them because I didn't know the proper name, right? So I'm like, I'm telling our development group, we're going to stick these igloos across this mountainside here, and it's just going to be the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, right? And they seen the vision and they believed in me, which I commend them for. And as we got more educated, we're like, okay, they're called glamping domes. And so we didn't know anything about them. I cold called a dealer out of Florida, Geodomes, and just said, "Hey, this is what I got. This is where I'm at. What do you think I need to get?" And through many, just us kind of talking and him understanding our weather patterns and where I was going to put them at, he kind of helped guide us through what we should purchase. So we wound up purchasing 5 domes. They are called, they are 23-foot in diameter domes, and they make them humongous. They make them, I think, all the way down to maybe 12 foot now, all the way up to 40 or 50 foot, maybe even bigger than that. And so when we got them in, it took us. We had to obviously build a deck on the side of the mountain, and we wanted to put our own kind of custom touch on them. So as you can see in the background, one thing we did uniquely was we put hot tubs on each dome. We also did that with each cabin. So I think we're the only campground that I know of right now that has 15 individual hot tubs, one for each cabin, which I have 10, and 5 for each dome. So it gives a unique touch to people. Another unique thing we did for our domes is we interiorly decorated each dome differently. Again, to go back to your point, we wanted to build our customer base, and we wanted them to say, "Oh, wait, so when I come back next year and I stay in dome number 3, or Forest Dome as it's called, it's a whole nother experience. It's a whole nother view. It's a whole nother interior design. They are all symmetrically laid out the same, but it's a whole different experience." And so we wanted to continue to do that. We did that with our cabins as well. And that's been a big hit for us and a big success. I feel like a lot of people have done like cookie cutter parks. And again, nothing wrong with that. We just wanted to be a little differently. The third thing we did that's been a real big factor, we didn't stack them on top of each other. They are spaced out enough to where you're not, when you get up in the morning, you open your curtain, you're not looking into someone else's backyard. You're not looking into the next dome. So we strategically placed them to where they're not looking at each other. And that's been a big hit too, because people want to come and be secluded, but yet when they want to enjoy other people's company, they're not too far away. So that's been a big success for us.
Mm. It's something that I've seen a few people do. I'm pleased to hear that you've not done it, where they've put the different sites, the different structures too close together. And as we know, the canvas or the material is not very soundproof.
Correct.
So you don't want to be hearing your neighbor snoring or doing anything else for that matter. In fact, at the moment in the UK, there's a big hullabaloo about something where there is too much sound coming from a romantic glamping site. So so you have to be a bit careful. In fact, one of the places that I've seen in a part of Slovenia, actually, where they had only a limited amount of sites. So what they did was they redirected a little bit of the local stream to go through the campsite, through past all the glamping tents to make the sound of water, to try and dullen the sounds that's coming from inside the canvas structures. But what you should do is what you've done, which is to make sure there's plenty of space, plenty
Yeah.
of room. People have got their own sense of privacy. You can't really hear everyone next door. So that's really good to hear. So why was it so difficult for you to build the dome when you first got it? Tell me a little bit about that story.
Okay, so this is the story that everybody loves to hear. So I'm a country boy from one stoplight town. Never really built anything in my life. We've renovated a lot of apartments, but never built any. So this was one of our unique builds. When we got the domes in, they come in this big package. We unwrapped them and we started looking for the what I call the IKEA of the world directions, where you've got your step by step, and it's 108 steps later you're complete, right? And I couldn't never find it. I just had this picture of a completed dome. So I called the guy in Florida. I called him up and I said, "Hey man, I think you forgot to put the directions in here." He said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "I don't have any directions. All I've got is one piece of paper of a completed dome." He said, "Well, that's it." And I said, "Well, wait a minute." I said, "There's got to be a YouTube video. There's got to be something, right?" I said, I know you built a million of these." He said, "I've never built one in my life." So I was like, holy smokes. I said, you sell these and you had never built one? Because I was like, where's this bolt go here? What's number 7A mean? He's like, I really don't know. And so we finally stared at this drawing and this completed dome long enough to understand that there were some numbers on there and they actually did mean something, but it didn't tell us what they meant. So after putting the dome together wrong for about a half a dozen different times, we finally figured out, okay, this is what this means and this is how this goes. So this dome I'm actually in right now took us about a week to build. It was 4 or 5 of us guys scratching our head most of the day, and we're like, you know what? We don't know if this is how this is supposed to go, but let's try it and see. And we're like, nope, that didn't work. So let's try it this way. So just to give you a reference, the last 4 domes took us 2 days to build. This one here took us 4 days. So we learned we are very educated on how not to build a dome, so to speak. But once we figured it out that first time, we were like, okay, this is not that bad. It's more like a puzzle you put together. We were able to put it together, and they came in and looked amazing. And then we obviously came in and put our own interior decorated touch on there. Just also one thing we did to try to set ourselves apart that's a big deal, at least in the United States, is fiber optic Wi-Fi. Everyone loves to be disconnected. I'm the same, but I also, for just emergency reasons, and also people love social media platforms. It's good to be connected or have the option to connect if you want. So one thing we did, it wasn't cheap, wasn't easy by any means. Probably one of the hardest tasks of the project is we ran fiber through the whole park. So our park is not antenna based where it bounces off of multiple antennas. We actually have underground fiber optic utilities to where you have a very strong signal. I'm actually hosting from this dome here on the side of a mountain in the woods connected to our Wi-Fi. So, and that's been a big deal for us. And that's a big deal for a lot of work campers, people traveling nowadays that work on the road. It was really big in COVID, people getting outdoors and working from home. So that's one thing that's very important to us and a big thing for the United States here.
It was really interesting because who knew that was going to happen with COVID striking and then everyone suddenly deciding to work from home? Who knew? I mean, you've almost prepared for this new immense trend. And even some of the sites that are operating and have been operating really well in their downtime, so the off season, the shoulder season, they have decided to rent their space out to people who just want to get away from the home office and they just want to have a different space, a different place to be inspired and motivated and do their work. So actually, by having Wi-Fi connected, you're one step ahead of the crowd there. And I think it's really relevant to understand what does the guest want? So I've had a lot of people say in the past, I'm not going to provide Wi-Fi because I don't believe in it. I think when they come here, they need to switch off and take a look at the beauty. And that's great. But I always ask them, what does your guest want? What does your ideal guest want? So you clearly figured out that yours needed Wi-Fi at moments, at times. But what is it about the rest of your site? So I know that you've thought very carefully about the type of site that you've chosen in terms of the layout, the topography, whether it'll be easy to get zoning and other permissions in place. What did you have a specific way of thinking before you actually purchased the land and started building?
So yes and no. So we spent about a year visiting other parks, going to conferences, networking with other park owners on what do they offer, what do they not offer, and what is working for them and what is not working for them. And when we located this piece of property, it's about 10 minutes from my home. We wanted something close to me because I was going to be directly over the development of the park, so I didn't want to have to jump on a plane and fly somewhere and spend a day or two of traveling. I need to be able to get there quick to make quick on-site decisions, which is monumental in building a park or renovating and uplifting a park. I would highly recommend you always, especially if it's your first one, and this was our first one, to try to stay close to home as much as you can. So then we said, okay, if we're going to do this close to Tyler's home, what is around? What other parks are here? So we met with them, and they're very open. And that's one great thing about this industry here is, there's more than enough for everyone to go around. And it's kind of funny because RV people like to jump around a different park. So it's like everybody gets the same clientele over and over again. So we spoke with them and we kind of understood what they did, what they didn't do. And that's kind of how we developed our model. And one thing we seen that no one did was have individual hot tubs. So we were like, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing, or are we just crazy for thinking of this idea? And so we said, you know what, we're going to try it and see. And it's been a huge success. Does it come with work, and has it came with some headaches? Of course, yes, it has. We had to rethink the park. We had to rethink the electrical grid because now we have additional hot tubs. Um, and so we had to understand that. We have to understand how to keep water clear and balanced, which we are experts at now. But they have been a huge success. And especially for us here in North Carolina, we have mild winters, which makes great hot tub weather. So usually from, let's say, December to February, it's anywhere from 30 to 50 degrees. It spikes. The saying always goes, if you want to see all four seasons in one day, just come to North Carolina. But it makes for great hot tub weather. So in our low occupancy months, December, January, February, we actually see a lot of weekend getawayers come and stay in our cabins and our domes because it's comfortable. It's nothing like great outdoor weather, but it's a great escape for adults and couples to come and then enjoy the hot tub. If you do come with a family, the kids can jump in the hot tub, obviously because our pool is closed. So they've been a huge success in actually getting our occupancy rate up a little bit, which we didn't really when we kind of when we were underwriting and looking at that, we did take that into play a little bit. We wanted to offer it more just as a luxury for our guests, but we've actually come to realize like, hey, these hot tubs actually bring guests to our park during kind of our winter months when otherwise they wouldn't be coming here because there's nothing really outdoor activity for them to do.
Mm. So we found it as well to be a draw for bookings, definitely from customers. The other thing we found is electric points for electric vehicles. So that's another draw for bookings because people get a bit freaked out whether they're going to be able to get from A to B with their electric vehicle. But how do you deal with the amount of time and effort that it takes to manage a hot tub? Because there's always extra work involved when you've got lots of facilities, but hot tubs are renowned for being a bit tricky because you've got to keep the water very safe. That's a big issue. And you've got to test it regularly, got to change the water regularly between guests, clean it, refill it, reheat it, and everything else that's involved. I mean, to me, it's a huge headache. But I know that it's a huge headache, but a fantastic draw for guests. I mean, how have you managed all of that?
So I had about 75 people tell me I was crazy for getting hot tubs at each site. And won't be the first time I've been called crazy. Probably won't be the last. I'm always up for a challenge. My development group, great group of guys and girls, and they stand behind me in a lot of things, and they believe in my ideas, even the crazy ones sometimes. And so we are always up for a challenge, and we always look at it and say, just because it's never been done doesn't mean that's a bad thing. It could be an opportunity. We could unravel something here. And so, yes, you're 100% right. There are a lot of obstacles to overcome with the hot tub. First being balancing of water. So we have staff here. Obviously, we have a pool, and we have certified pool operators as well, and they also overshadow and work on our hot tubs. And so our hot tubs stay balanced 24/7, whether a guest is staying or not, because oftentimes we have guests showing up on a Friday who did not book a hot tub and then all of a sudden decide, hey, I'd love to have a hot tub. Well, to eliminate one headache, we have the hot tub already balanced and ready for them. We just have a locking mechanism, so we unlock it. So keeping the hot tubs balanced is not a huge problem. Um, Obviously, we encourage guests and educate guests. Make sure you're clean when you jump in the hot tub. Obviously, chemicals and stuff that you put in your hair, sunscreens that you put on your body can waver the balance, alter the balance of the hot tub. So we educate our guests on that. We have those in the cabins and domes. We have sheets about that, and also we keep the record. So when our hot tub, when our maintenance supervisor goes by and checks all of them, everything's logged, and it's logged through a digital coding system to where at this time, at this day, this hot tub was balanced, and here was the results, right? And so if we ever have an issue, we can go back and look at that. So we always double check and make that. As far as if a hot tub gets to the point where it can't be balanced or be balanced in enough time for the next guest, we have a pretty good system in place where we can drain a hot tub in about 4 minutes, and it takes about probably 10 minutes to Clorox it, rinse it down, drain it out, and then we can refill it in about 15. We have a portable hot water system built on a golf cart. We did a custom build for a golf cart to where we can refill that hot tub with 100-degree water. So there's no downtime between guests, right? Which is a big deal, right? We've actually taken it a step farther, and I just thought of this. Call us crazy again. We bought portable hot tubs from Walmart, right? The portable ones, and we offer them for our RV guests. So RV sites coming in now want to book a hot tub. We'll go set the hot tub up. They have to give us a 24-hour notice just to give us enough time so we're not up against the wall. And we will come in and have a hot tub, a portable hot tub ready for them when they show up. It does take strategic planning and it does take work. You have to document, cross your T's and dot your I's, of course, but we've not had any real hiccups with it, and we keep them very much balanced, just like we do our pool. You just have to show them a little more attention than you do your pool because you got more turnover.
I'm really pleased that you've mentioned all of that, the need for reporting and recording everything to make sure that you're covered if there's ever a health and safety issue. It's all about risk management, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, we want to be providing these amazing facilities for guests, but we need to keep ourselves protected too. And everyone needs to be trained. We all need to be diligently recording everything we're doing. So it's good that you mentioned that. On a point there, let's just touch on that, which is about the RV. You were talking about where you might give someone in an RV who brings their own facilities, brings their own kit, everything they need, but you're giving them something a little bit extra. So this is something we're starting to see more of. So yes, people do want to come in their RV, but they might want a bit of outdoor space as well that's sheltered to be able to be outside. They might want the hot tub. They might want to have barbecue facilities out and about and seats and everything else that they didn't have to bring themselves. This is something we're seeing more of. So it's the enhanced RV site, I suppose you'd call it. Are you doing that more now? Are you finding there's a higher demand for that?
There is. There very much is. So our phase one are smaller RV sites, not in a bad way. We are on septic out here, and our whole site is based off of septic, so you can't cross your septic fields, right? So you're limited, right? So phase one, the topo was a little more challenging. It was smaller, so our sites out there are large. They're still around 65 foot long, but we had an opportunity on phase two to make more customizable RV sites, and that's exactly what we did. A few things we did is we have sites that are 95 foot long, and we also what we did is each RV site, we've done this through the whole park, has its own private sodded yard. So on phase two, not only do you have a 95 foot long RV site, you've got a 95 foot long RV or 95 foot long sodded yard as well. We did custom fire brick fire pits. They have a picnic table as well. And one unique thing we learned and did after we kind of opened up phase one was our sewer connection hookups. We have learned through just feedback from clients that they would prefer to see the sewer tap hookup closer and in front of their water hookup. So that's exactly what we did on phase two. It's about a 10-foot offset. So and it actually matches up almost perfect on most of your RVs. So when they back up, they'll usually stop at where their electrical and water hookup is. And then their sewer hookup on their camper is usually about 10, roughly on average, 10 feet in front of that. And that's where we put the custom sewer hookups. You may think, oh, that's not that big a deal, but that is a huge deal for a lot of clients that only have one sewer hose. Now they don't have to come to the camp store or go somewhere else and buy a secondary sewer hose and run a longer path. Now they just have that one, and that's been a big deal. So we call that our custom sewer hookup. And yeah, so we see a lot of that. We do the hot tubs, the portable hot tubs, and we also built the sites in such a fashion that if we ever want to come back and build cabanas or overhangs and make a barbecue station, we can. Obviously, just with financing and getting the park open, you can't do everything at once like we'd love to. But we did a master plan build to where we can bring on and continue to upgrade the park as we grow and as we have that need.
Mm. And do you find that you have the same kind of RV person coming, and your ideal audience, a typical audience who wants to come and stay? Do you find that it's the same kind of person with the same type of RV, or do you get a real mix?
We get a mix of everything, and we want that. We strategically planned the park to be able to do that, and we strategically did our pricing model to attract all walks of life. We wanted to build this park for the common man who wants to come and just bring his kids to tent camp one weekend for $30 a night, to the guy who is retired and got a $500,000 RV and travels all the time. And we've been very successful at that, and we hold the integrity of the park with that. So we get all walks of life through here in a very good, healthy, positive way. And it's been a tremendous successful project for us. And just kind of go back to what you mentioned, we get a lot of people that come and RV with us or camp with us, and then they're like, "Oh my gosh, y'all have glamping domes," and then they'll come back and stay in a glamping dome. And then they're like, "Oh my gosh, you got a cabin," and they'll come back and they'll jump in a cabin. So yeah, we see people that come, and we've seen a lot of people that have RVs, but grandma and grandpa don't. So guess what? Grandma and grandpa come when they stay in because they want to come and enjoy the family as well. They'll come and stay in a cabin, which is a little more comfortable. It's more insulated. It's easier to get in and out of. It has a full size shower in it, a full size bathroom. So we see a lot of families that come, and they'll have family members staying in a dome, a cabin, an RV site, and one Uncle Joe, he's over there camping out because he still loves the old the roughing it side of it. So we love to see that. That's been a huge success for us.
Mm. I think that's something that we've seen a lot more as well after the pandemic. Families saying, we don't know how much time we have together. We need to make the most of this time. So when we go on holiday, we're going to book a holiday for everyone. And I think that's fantastic that you've got those facilities that match everyone depending on their needs and their age, their desire to be outside. I mean, not everyone wants to be outside in nature all of the time. A lot of people like to have their comfort. So if you were to give somebody the benefit of your advice in terms of getting started, because I know that you did a number of years of research before you got involved in this market, what would be the thing that you would advise someone to do if they were trying to get involved in it?
I would say network, network, network. I am a product of networking. In a previous life, I was a civil engineer for 7 years with the company. Had a great run with them, fantastic company, and then just, as most people say, got bit by the real estate bug. And the current president of our company now, also a mentor to me, I worked with in that industry, and network unknowingly to me during that time, networked with him, and he cold called me up and said, "You want to start getting into real estate with me? I'm going back in full time." And I said, "Tell me where to sign up." And that was in 2017. And fast forward, we have probably renovated around 300 to 400 apartments. We have apartment complexes up and down the East Coast, and we have obviously built this campground. So I would say network, network, network. Get out, talk to people. Don't be afraid to shake hands and open up conversations, because that opens up opportunities and that opens up doors. And the shortcut to success is a mentor. And I am living proof of that. George Slimbo, who is a great guy and a great mentor to me, and our president, has kind of taken me under his wing and molded me and kind of guided me. I'm usually a million miles an hour ready to take over the world and do this. And he's like, "All right, well, if you're going to do it, go down this path." And I'm like, "Okay, yes. All right." So I would encourage people to do that. Surround yourself with people that's smarter than you. Not the smartest guy. I just have a lot of energy. And so utilize those people. The guy who helped me build this park, Nathan McMurray, um, I went to high school with. We graduated high school, went about our separate ways, came back together, and now we talk all the time on a day to day. We're always working on projects together. And he is kind of the thing they call when they see me and him together, they call us Walt Disney. They call me Walt and they call him Disney. I'm the guy that comes up with these crazy ideas, and somehow Nathan can see into my head and build what I'm thinking, and it's crazy. It's a crazy thing, but network with those people and tell your story. And when people see that vision and people see that passion in you, they're going to be drawn to it. Just like George was drawn to me, and he's seen, "Man, this guy's got he's got the passion, he's got the enthusiasm. He doesn't have the knowledge, but I can give him that knowledge." So, and that's exactly what we've done. And we've surrounded ourselves with great people. We've got a great development group. That we can tackle anything, and we all balance each other out. Yeah, we all bump heads here and there, but that's normal. But we all balance each other out and respect each other's decisions enough to where we can, when we come down to a decision, we're like, all right, this is the path we're going, and let's just dominate it.
So what's been your favorite project so far? Has it been the apartments or has it been the RVs and the glamping? Be
No
honest.
one wants to talk about apartments. I'm like, hey, you want to go look at this apartment complex? They're like, no, I want to go look at the campground. I'm like, okay, well, let's go look at the campground. So the campground has definitely put us on the map. It's a cool, fun, exciting project. Of course, when everybody comes to the park, they want to see a glamping dome. They always want, they don't really care much about the RV sites. They kind of like the cabins, but they want to see the glamping dome. So it's been a huge success for us. We've had all kinds of people coming. It's so funny. Like when we opened July 1st, 2022, and leading up that month of June of 2022, leading up to it, I mean, it was like a mound of ants of just hundreds of people running around the park trying to get stuff done. I didn't eat, I didn't sleep. I think I lost 20 pounds, and it was. I was nervous. I was like, what if no one shows up? Well, we were fully booked, and then so that gave a little bit. That made it even more nervous, right? So it was just so funny like that. I remember that day we opened at 12 o'clock on a Friday, and at 11:30, we're still running around planting flowers, watering flowers, wiping stuff down, and then people show up, and all the staff and me were just like, "What do we do now? Right? What do we do now?" So it was a successful weekend, fully booked, had a great time, and we've learned, and we of course we've made mistakes as we went along, but we have a great staff here at the park. I've been extremely blessed to have a great park manager and the staff that comes in with it that takes years of my life off of me because they are able to make things happen and I don't have to step in all the time. So it's again, it goes back to kind of surrounding yourself with good people, and when people see that passion and people see that enthusiasm, they want to come and work for you. So, of course, the park is the big topic. We've had some good success. I don't know if you heard, we were very fortunate enough to win 2023 2024 Park of the Year from Ojai Outdoor Hospitality Industry. That was a huge success. Our first time ever applying. Did not think we would win it. Was just trying to get in get them to kind of hear our name. They called us up and said, "We want you to fly to Kansas City. You're in the top three." So I'm like, "Oh, this is serious." So we flew up there and they called our name, and it's still a dream come true. I'm still like, "Did we really win? Like, did we? And so it's been a super fun project, and just we want to continue to grow, and now we want to be able to tell our story so people can understand that, hey, a couple people from a one stoplight town took a 82-acre tract of raw land, no water, no sewer, no power. Literally, we got one deer stand when we bought the property, and we were able to turn it into a destination resort. Was it easy? No. Was it hard? Yes. Did it take years to do? Yes. Was it financially exhausting? Yes. But is it worth it in the end? And if you structure it correctly and you do your underwriting correctly and you do it with the right group, it can be a massive, successful project.
No, congratulations on your award. That's fantastic. I think that really does help to motivate you and your staff. I mean, is that something that you found, or have you found any other ways to motivate staff? Because staff is a massive issue. Staff, they are so precious. It's so important to try and hang on to them because if they work well, you do not want to be losing them, but they are scarce. There's so few good staff. So how do you really hang on to them?
So I always say staff are the heart and lungs of the park. If they're not functioning properly, we're doomed, right? So I got a unique story, real quick story to tell about my park manager. So when we're building this park, we're starting to get to the point where we're like, okay, we got to find somebody to run it. And that task was dawned on me. So I said, okay, let me start thinking. And I remember this guy where we were renting a storage unit for materials for the park. And I walked in one day and he talked to me, just the nicest guy you ever met. Just had a glowing factor, just all around, just a great guy. Just gave you that good warm fuzzy feeling. And he always stuck out to me. And that was like 2 years before, right, as we were starting to build a park. And I remembered him when I started looking for a park manager, and I tracked him down and I cold called him and I said, "Hey, this is Tyler Watts. I'm building a campground. Are you interested in running it?" I literally said that. He said, "Where?" And I went through all the details and stuff. He said, "Well, let me come out there tomorrow and look at it." So he showed up and we were still under construction. And I kind of showed him around and showed him my vision. And I'm an enthusiastic guy and I'm very passionate. And he just kept listening and looking around. I couldn't really tell if he was like, I ain't doing this, or if he was really interested. And I remember standing on the cabin of a, on the deck of a cabin, and he said, "Man, this is going to be amazing. When do you want me to start?" And I'm like, "Are you serious? Like, are you serious?" And it wasn't 2 weeks later. He's out here helping us, and he actually helped us physically finish out and build the domes and finish the park. And then he's been running the park, and he has a great persona about him, and and he has been able to bring additional staff on with the same style of mentality, right? So surround yourself with good people, and good things will happen, right? So he has been monumental in the park, and our office girls, and even our park staff have been monumental in everything, and they feed off of each other, and they fed off of my vision and believed in my vision, and now they want to see it come together. And we were even fortunate enough. I had some, and they're still with us, work campers that live here at the park and work. They seen our ad come out in the newspaper and cold called me wanting to come here and work, and they have been the most biggest blessing you could ever imagine. They work here at the park. They're our camp host. They know all the details and ins and outs and anything that comes on after hours. It's been a big blessing. But to keep them motivated, I always love to come over and brag on them and talk to them. We go and do stuff as staff. We'll do cookouts here. Um, we keep things fresh, we keep things up. But yeah, it's a constant daily thing that you have to do to keep people motivated. Everyone loves to be told that they're doing a good job, right?
Mm.
And especially when they are doing a good job. So I always try to make sure I say, hey, I always try to make sure I come in with a cheery attitude, no matter how bad my day's been. Come in with a smile on your face, right? Because there's always going to be challenges in life, right? And if you can raise somebody's mood up, why not do it, right? Why not? Don't be a black cloud. So we all go through challenges in life, so we're no different. But we have a great staff. I love to keep them built up. With like this Tuesday. So tomorrow night, Jake's birthday. Jake has a birthday this week. We're having a staff party. We're going bowling and eating pizza. So and that just keeps us all together. And one of our staff members had one of their dads pass away a few weeks ago. As a staff company, we all came together and went to the funeral together. So we have a very tight knit family. And are there times where our schedules conflict and it's hard to make it to all these things? Of course. But we always try to come together and make that happen because it means a lot to everybody.
Mm. And it means a lot to your customers as well. There's a fantastic piece of research which talks about how your customer makes their mind up about how good their stay is going to be within literally the first few minutes of arriving on site. So whoever has greeted them, whether that's the person managing the land, cutting the grass, or doing the hedges, or doing the cleaning, it could be any one of your staff who sees them first. So they all have a very, very important role in welcoming your guests. So if they're all happy, they're all going to be invested in your project. They're all going to be saying the right stuff and greeting them in the right way. So, I mean, that sounds fantastic to me. And I think that's very precious, I'm sure, for your employees, because there's so few employers that are like that. Do you take part in any particular training for them? Do you help them, guide them, and any new staff that come in any particular way to keep them motivated?
So we they do it when they come in. Obviously, they have to learn our software program, and so there's a lot of training videos for that. And then we do monthly meetings regarding like CPR, emergency responses to the park, because we are a unique style park. And if something happens in a glamping dome on the side of a ridge that you can't get a vehicle on, we have emergency plan in place to where get a golf cart down there and get them up there to where a fire truck can access and stuff like that. So we're always updating that. We're always updating with the pool as well. Obviously, the pool is a very big hot spot in the summer, and if someone has an accident in the pool, what's the procedures and stuff like that. But as far as keeping levels high, as far as the momentum high at the park and keeping attitudes fresh. Jake does a great job at it. He's a very upbeat individual. I'm a very upbeat individual, and people feed off of that. And so when me and Jake see each other, we're always joking around and this and that, cutting jokes. And when staff see that, it makes them feel comfortable, because I don't want them to look at me as, some big black cloud guy coming in here, getting ready to just say, why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? I ask questions in a respectful way. Hey, what happened here? Tell me where I can help you at. And I'm always looking at staff saying, what do you need help with? Where can I help? right? I understand that I developed the park and I'm a co-owner, but that doesn't mean I'm too good to go grab a bag of trash from an RV site. Let's jump on the golf cart and we'll go. If there's not a golf cart available, I'll walk and go get it. So I always try to lead by example. And I was taught that from a young age, and in my old career, another mentor I had taught me that as well. Always be willing to do what you ask others to do as well. So, and staff feed off of that, and that makes them feel pleasant and welcome, right? And if they're having a bad day, I'll say, "Come on, let's go walk down the nature trail, and just tell her what's going on in life. How's life going? What are you struggling with? Is there something I can help with? Is there something if you don't want to talk, okay, I understand too. But if you need to vent, your secret safe with me." And so people appreciate that. And it's a lot. And there's sometimes I just need to vent, right? I've had a crappy day, right? So you just got to keep an upbeat attitude and a fresh mindset, right? Life's going to throw us struggles, right? No doubt about it. It's how you respond to those struggles and those failures is what truly makes you a person. And I've got three kids and a daughter that's 17, two sons, one 11 and 7, and I preach that to them on a daily basis. Life's going to knock you down. How you get back up is the real part of you and what defines you.
Absolutely. I always say to my kids, it's like life is a game of football. You're going to get knocked over. There's going to be a foul against you. There's going to be something that goes wrong, but it's about how you get up and carry on playing the game. And so true. So I'm really interested in your bookings. How have the bookings been in recent times? Because we had pandemic, everything went crazy after the pandemic, and then we seemed to have a bit of a blip where there was this big kind of climb and then it dropped down to a place of normality. How is it for your bookings and your occupancy? How is that doing?
So we're still learning and understanding the model. And we brought our park on in phases. So in 2022, we had 16 RV sites, 10 cabins, 5 domes. And then we just like 3 weeks ago brought on an additional 40 RV sites. So we're growing through a phased project. We brought on a clubhouse, we brought on a pool, and we all brought that on in phases. And so understanding the booking side of it, we've really spent a lot of time doing that, and we still have monthly meetings as investors to look at how things are going. We've been very successful so far on things. It's not, we always want to make more money, we always want more bookings, but we are a new park, and to take something that was never there and get your name out there and people show up has been a tremendous success for us. We are still amazed that people from Florida are finding us. Now, again, we've spent money on marketing. We've been on all the social media platforms. We've done a couple news station radios. But it is just amazing to us on that. We are learning, and this is normal. January and February are usually your low occupancy months, right? So one thing we've done at our park now that we have 40 RV sites to kind of help offset that and give us some standard income is we're now allowing long-term guests where we couldn't in phase one with only 16 RV sites. So there's a lot of people. So there's different classes of RV people that we're kind of learning. There's transient, there's weekly, and then there's some people that just like to come and stay somewhere for a month. And then there's people that they basically live out of an RV and they're long-term tenants and they'll stay there for 6 months and then go somewhere else. And now with us having 56 RV sites, we can cater to all walks of those people. So what we're looking at doing is adding in some long-term RV sites to help offset and keep the financials looking healthy in those low occupancy months. One thing we've done to help increase occupancy is create a family-friendly, fun environment through events on weekends. And people love doing events. We do it big for obviously for all the Memorial Day, July 4th, and all that. Another thing we added in is Nobby or Bigfoot resides on our property, and we promote that very heavily. So we get a lot of people that want to come and see Bigfoot, right? So we look at that and say, okay, for us to keep our occupancy level up, we've got to have things for people to do. And we're on the river here on the Broad River. We've got a hiking trail. We've got a pool with a splash pad. We've got free games you can play, a Gaga pit, a massive checkers game, ping pong. So we're obviously for us here in North Carolina, our season would be like Memorial Day to Halloween. So we've looked at that and said, okay, that's kind of set in stone. That's an industry standard, right? You don't have to necessarily do a ton of work to get clients to come to you then. It's that November, December, January, February where you need people to kind of continue to show up because we want to be open year round. And so we do activities there and then. We do Thanksgiving dinners. We do Christmas specials. we are always looking at our model and running specials to continue to drive occupancy up. And it seems to be working at the moment.
So do you focus a lot more on getting direct bookings where they're booking through your own website, your own portal, or are you using third party online travel agents or listing sites? What's your kind of strategic view there?
Our primary listings come through direct, and we use CampSpot. That's primarily where most of our bookings come through, or just people calling in. You would not, it's crazy how much the phone rings and people just calling and making a booking. We are on Airbnb, we are on VRBO, and I think we're on like booking.com and a couple others. And we do get bookings from them, but they when you break it down, most of those are direct bookings, which is great, right? I love Airbnb and VRBO, but they do charge some fees for their services, so it actually helps the guest a little bit if they can figure out to do a direct booking. But however, we do get those that can't come in, and we've not really focused on trying to push one way or the other because we don't really care which way they come in. Our plan was to just get our name out there and be as big on social media and those platforms as we can, and TikTok and Instagram. And obviously, us winning Park of the Year has accelerated us and kind of gave us a little bit of a reputable resume right now. So that's been a big success, and so marketing, social marketing or social media marketing has been a big success for us. And I'm kind of in that realm, and that's one of my responsibilities. And not saying I'm an expert, but we just get on there and we make cool little 10, 15, 20-second videos. We have cannonball contests at the park. We want to create and educate people of what's going on at the park and what you're missing and what you should come and stay and do and have fun with, all the while not breaking the bank. And that was been a big thing for us is keep it affordable. Obviously, us as investors have to be able to get a return. We have to make enough money to pay bills. Profitability is not a dirty word. If we don't make money, we can't pay bills. The park can't stay open. But we also understand and want to make sure that we keep it affordable enough to where it's not a house payment when you come out here to the campground. You can come bring the family, enjoy the weekend, and not break the bank.
I love it that you're using Bigfoot there. I'm sure he's more than happy to help you with your marketing. So, are there any particular platforms in terms of social media that work for you best? Is it TikTok? Is it Instagram? Which one's the one that works for you in the most efficient way?
So our demographic of people that seem to interact with us the most at the moment is on Facebook. That's been our number one, I would say, followed closely by TikTok. We get a lot of views on TikTok. We are also wanting to push on the Instagram platform. We do that. I know that is probably the wrong order because most people would say, the glamping industry is number one on Instagram, and it's probably just me not doing it right. But it just seems that we get a ton of interaction through Facebook marketing and doing photos and short little videos and stuff of that nature. We've just had great success with it. People sharing our information and going through there. But we want to stay on all of them, obviously, and keep pushing it up. But Facebook for us, particularly, just at this moment, it may change, has been a tremendous success for us. We in our first year, I think we had 11,000 followers, which is just insane to me. Of course, now I'm like, well, wait a minute. You think we can get 20? You think we can get 30? What about 50? So we were able to interact and do that way. And we definitely want to continue to grow it. Now that the park's built, I think I can focus a little more on the high level marketing and be able to bring more content there. It's just been a little, when you're building 40 more RV sites and I'm literally out there having to drive a dump truck and I'm looking at engineering plans and I'm working on financing. It's hard to balance all that and do marketing videos. So my goal this year for 2024 is, now that the RV park's built, is to try to look in some of this social media, especially Instagram, and throw a little more attention on it.
Yeah, it's interesting though, because you talk there about the fact that the most success is coming from Facebook, and you think you should be getting more from Instagram, but you're not at the moment. So maybe you'll focus a bit more time on that. I get to see behind the scenes of a lot of glamping sites. I get to see their analytics, and that is a very similar thing that others are also
Okay.
experiencing. So that's not, outside of the industry standard. Facebook tends to get people clicking through to a website. Instagram, probably because the only way you can share a link in Instagram is with the profile link, the one profile link you're allowed. So for a lot of people, unless they're influencers, that tends to put people off clicking through to your website. So it's what you're doing there is exactly how it seems to be working
Okay,
for a lot of other
good.
businesses. So it sounds like you're doing really well. Have you been looking into any Facebook ads or Instagram ads or TikTok ads, Pinterest, all of that kind of stuff? Have you been doing any PPCs?
Yeah, we have done some paid Facebook marketing ads on stuff, especially when we're doing running specials and stuff like that. We'll boost the posts and stuff of that nature. I don't think we've done a ton on any other platform, not in a bad way. Again, we're trying to understand where are we getting the best bang for our buck. We've done billboards. We did a news station out of Charlotte, North Carolina, which we're about 50 minutes west of. And we did three different news runs on that. That was a big success that we think, but it's hard to really measure how many bookings came from that. Again, we've done a ton on Facebook. We've done newspaper articles. So we're just trying in these last year and a half, trying to figure out where are we getting the most response at. And it seems to be Facebook. So right now for 2024, it seems to be, if we're going to push money towards marketing, Facebook seems to be our best bang for our buck at the moment. And so, yes, we try to do that and push stuff on that. And then we'll always run specials. One thing we've been very successful with is we have done a quite a few of like if you share, repost, like, and comment on this Facebook post, you're entered for a 2 night stay here at the Broad River Campground. And we've had like 100, 200, 300 shares, which probably reached maybe 40, 50,000 people by the time it was done. And it didn't cost us an arm and a leg. Obviously it cost us when they come and stay here at the park, right? But when we do our dollar versus marketing, it tends to be very good and it gets shared to a lot of people. And the more times you share, the more times you're entered. So it just constantly recycles. So we do little things like that every once in a while to get the momentum up and just kind of continue to get news feeds going out. I'm not a marketing guru by any means, but I know that repetitiveness of seeing something, you're more likely to click on it and investigate it. And usually it's 7, 8, 9, 10 times before someone sees something before they click on it. I'm a product of that. And Facebook has a great algorithm. When I'm looking at something for 3 or 4 seconds, if it ain't 10 minutes later, when I'm looking at something again, that same ad or a similar ad pops right back up. So it's kind of like, okay, well, let's piggyback off of that. Let's get out there as much as we can.
Yeah, I think actually the official research says that it's about 7 or 8 times that people have
Yeah.
to see something before they actually act on it. So you do have to be everywhere. And they're talking now about having to be omnipresent. So to be pretty much everywhere that you can be. So as you're talking about, you're here, you're on the podcast, you're here at going to the glamping show, you're doing social media, you're on the billboards. You're omnipresent, and that's the only way really to remind people that you're there. And then they'll start thinking, oh yeah, I've been seeing that RV park, maybe we will go there this summer. That's the way to do it. And it is difficult to measure your success a lot of the time, but there's always a way around that with a voucher code that people have to use if they've seen it and it's on a poster or something like that. But it's fascinating. It's about experimenting. It's about seeing what works for you, because so many different places react in a different way to different marketing. So you may think, well, this is working for us, or that's not working for us. Is that for everyone else? And usually it's very specific to your local area and to your customers. So you're never going to know really what they will respond to best until you try it and test
That's
it.
right.
And it's all a big experiment, isn't it? And then
That's
we
right.
just have
That's
to
right.
kind of move on from there. And I think that kind of makes it more fun, is that you can experiment.
Yep.
Uh, but it's definitely the whole book direct is moving in momentum across the US. I know that there's a book direct day now where people who take bookings from guests can kind of promote that, and that's all very positive because it's about giving yourselves the majority of the profit from a booking rather than having to pay lots of middle companies who are taking and taking the profit off and not leaving
Yeah.
you with much. So that's a really good way to go about it. So in terms of the glamping industry and glamping as a trend in the US, how can you see it going, or what are you witnessing at the moment?
So I don't have a ton of experience, but we started looking into this in 2020. So we've got a few years under our belt. Just in that time there, glamping has exponentially taken off. Um, when I was out at the glamping show this past year and speaking with Ruben, and now I'm working with him, sitting on a couple of committees, it is just overwhelming, the response and what people are wanting to get into. Um, it's a cool experience. It's a unique experience, and there's so many products out there available. I feel like when glamping first came on, it was an experience, but it wasn't necessarily that comfortable. And so now the comfortability aspect of it, of having insulated domes, having being able to have that experience but not freeze at night, has been a big deal. One thing we did in our particular domes, although they're not insulated, because we're in North Carolina, we have mild winters. We have a mini split put in them. And then even when it does get down to 30 or 40 degrees at night, and it does get a little chilly in the dome, we have heated mattress pads. We have a heated blanket. Um, so to keep guests comfortable, we have a hot tub. We have a multiple little space heaters that we're able to put in here, electric space heaters. So that helps with the comfortability side of it. But glamping as a whole seems to really be taken off. And I love that. And I'm super happy to be a part of that industry. One of the main reasons we bought these glamping domes is because we were like, no one else around here really has any. And so we don't know if that's a good or bad thing. Let's just build them and see. And they've been the biggest hit here at the park. Everyone wants to see them. They're attention getters. As soon as you pull into the park, you see this ridge. And so as you're going to check in, as every RV person that pulls into this park sees the glamping dome. So it's a huge marketing thing for us. So, but it is really taken off, and I think it's just the tip of the iceberg for the glamping industry. It's unique, and you've got to be willing to adapt, right? And it's very much environmental. You got to understand where you're at. If you're up north, glamping is a little more challenging because of the weather. If you're down in Florida, glamping's got its own separate challenges with the heat, right? Fortunately for us, we're here in North Carolina. We don't have terrible summers or terrible winters. We have spikes in them, so it made a great opportunity for us to be able to put them here. But I think glamping is just going to continue to grow and exponentially. And based off of what I've talked with Ruben, who is the president of the AGA, it is growing really fast for them. And that's I think he's the only glamping show in America, the American Glamping Association, and his numbers seem to climb every year, which is a result and shows and demonstrates that this industry is growing very fast.
So will you be attending the next glamping show in October?
I hope to attend. I hope to network this past year. And I love Ruben. They had a tent that you could stay in while you're there, a glamping tent. And you know me, I'm going to stay in one. So I stayed in one the whole time we're at the show. So yeah, I plan on being there, continue to network. Hopefully I get to tell my story to a few people at some point. So I'm helping on a committee for the AGA, a development committee for newcomers or people that just are looking for people that have built and have questions regarding electrical, sewer, plumbing, you name it. So yes, I plan to be there and plan to continue to grow.
Oh, well, I hope to see you there because I'm hoping to pop out as well this year. And I look forward very much to hearing more about your campground and more awards, no doubt, that you're going to be getting with everything that you're doing, everything you've got in place. It's fantastic. It sounds amazing. So just give me a summary of what's happening for the rest of your day today. Well, how are you operating with your glamping business today?
So today's a very special day. Today's my daughter's 17th birthday, so I've got that going on, and she'll probably kill me for saying that, because they don't want to be called out. But I'm dad. I'm going to do it. I've actually got another webinar with CampSpot, who is our software provider, at 11 o'clock. So in about an hour, I've got to redo this all again. It just so happened to fall on this day, so I've got a lot of running around to do today. I'm obviously going to check in with the park and see what's going on with them and where I can help them at. So it's crazy with my schedule. One day I might be giving a webinar or presentation. The next day I may be driving a dump truck. The next day I might be taking out trash. So I'm not against it all. I want to learn it all. I want to absorb it all. I want to teach all of it. With my middle son Jackson, he's going to be 12 here in July. He's already bought him some work pants, and he wants to work at the park this summer and earn him enough money to continue to buy his little things. And so I said, well, first thing you got to do is you got to go buy some work pants. So that's what we went and did, and he paid for them. And he's like, man, these things are expensive. I was like, that means life's expensive, so we're going to figure out how to make money to afford it. So I'm super excited for 2024 for Broad River Campground. We expect it to be a huge success for us. It's going to be a lot of work, and we'll have some headaches along the way. I don't like to sugarcoat everything, but at the end of the day, I enjoy it. I'm not a guy who is an office desk guy. I love the hustle and bustle, and I hope that my energy and my passion motivates other people in the industry to grow and take that chance. And we want to continue to grow. If it's up to me, I want to build 30 more parks. But we got to make sure this one's a success first and get stabilized 100%. And we're super excited to be in the industry and to be able to come up through it and tell our story to motivate people.
Oh, well, it's incredibly motivating, and I have no doubt you're going to succeed. And thank you so much for your time today. I know that you will have inspired a lot of other people who are listening in. I look forward to reading all the new stories in the future as you move forward.
Thank you.